So today we're diving into a story, one that's been hiding in plain sight for decades, right at the heart of a global music legend's life. We're talking about Peter Tosh and the daughter who finally stepped up to claim his legacy. For as long as his music has been out there, this revolutionary stuff, there's been this whisper, this question mark hanging over his personal life. It was more than just gossip. It was a full-blown family mystery, and it went on for decades. And yeah, these weren't just some throwaway rumors. These whispers stuck around, even after his tragic death. But now, after all this time, the silence is finally broken. The story is finally coming out.
So to really get why this rumor had so much staying power, you have to understand the man himself. So let's start there. Who was Peter Tosh?
He was way more than just a reggae artist. This guy was a total firebrand, a revolutionary. He used his music to fight for justice, to push back against the system. A real cultural icon, no question. And his story? It's just incredible. Picture this. It's the 60s. He's in Trenchtown, starting the Wailers with Bob Marley and Bunny Wailer. Fast forward to the 70s, and bam, his solo career just explodes with these legendary albums. By the 80s, he's a global icon, famous for his activism and, for riding unicycles on stage. Then, tragically, in 1987, it's all cut short. So this is the giant, larger-than-life figure we're talking about. And it was right after that sudden, violent death that the whispers, they started getting louder. This rumor just wouldn't die down. The story was that there was another child, a daughter, who was being kept out of the spotlight, maybe even on purpose. Now you might think, okay, just gossip, but it was more than that. The whole thing was fueled by his family life, which was, it was complicated. It was the perfect breeding ground for a mystery like this. And how complicated are we talking? Well, try this number on for size. 10. He reportedly had 10 children. That right there tells you just how complex his family tree was. See, his private life was just that, private. He had kids with different partners, and unlike a lot of celebrities today, he kept his family way, way out of the public eye. So it might not have been a deliberate hiding of anyone, it was just that his privacy left these big gaps in the public story. And right into one of those gaps, this name starts popping up, Niambe McIntosh. And that just got people talking even more. So that's the big question, right? The one that hung over everything for years. Was the rumor real? Is Niambe actually his daughter? And if she is, why was she a secret for so long? Well, the answer didn't come from some splashy press release. Nope, it came from Niambe herself. So let's talk about how she finally started to step out of the shadows. So who is Niambe McIntosh? Well, she's the youngest of all of Peter Tosh's kids. And here's the thing that's so important to remember. She was only 5 years old when he was killed. Just a little kid. She basically grew up without him. Her move into the public eye wasn't some overnight thing. It was this really gradual, deliberate process. Okay, so first, in 2016, she shows up at the Peter Tosh Museum opening. That gets everyone buzzing again. Next, she takes on this huge role as chairperson of the Peter Tosh Foundation. And then, the final piece, she starts managing his entire estate, his brand, everything. Each one of those steps brought her closer and closer to the center of his legacy. And that brings us to how this whole thing was finally confirmed. Because this is what's so interesting. The rumors didn't end with some big dramatic announcement. They were put to rest by something much quieter and, honestly, way more powerful. Just hard work. Yeah, that's really the heart of the story. There was no tell-all interview, no tabloid exclusive. Her confirmation was her action. It was just year after year of dedicated work that, little by little, just wiped away any doubt that might have been left. So think about it like this. On one side, you've got all those years of whispers and questions. But on the other, you have the cold, hard fact of her leadership. She wasn't just talking, she was doing. She was running the foundation, the estate, the museum. Her work became the proof. Action just completely replaced all that speculation. And just look at what she took on. As the head of the foundation, she's carrying on his message of activism. As the estate manager, she's protecting his brand integrity. And at the museum, she's literally shaping how his history is told. Each of these jobs is a massive responsibility, and together, they cemented her place as not just his daughter, but the true guardian of his legacy. So in the end, by talking about her role in interviews, but more importantly, by actually doing the work, she made the whole question of,
Is she his daughter? Kind of irrelevant. Of course she is. She didn't have to scream it. Her actions did all the talking for her.
Okay, so what's the upshot of all this? What does it mean for Peter Tosh's legacy today? Well, her stepping up didn't just answer an old question, it actually redefined the entire legacy. And the reaction from everyone was just fantastic. For the fans, it was like, finally, some closure. The media loved her transparency and how she handled everything. And for activists, they saw that her father's work was in good hands and would continue. And this is so important. Her leadership brings stability. With her in charge, there's one clear, authentic voice guiding the legacy. That means less room for family infighting and a much better chance that everything gets handled the right way, with respect. Because of her, the legacy isn't some dusty thing on a shelf. It's alive. It's being pushed forward in all the right ways, making sure the music is preserved, continuing the fight for social justice, educating people about the culture, and making sure the family is guiding it all into the future. You know, her story is a great reminder that a legacy isn't just a statue or a plaque. It's a living, breathing thing. The story isn't just about Peter Tosh, the legend, anymore. It's also about the people who have to pick up that torch and carry it forward. And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? Her whole journey from being this whispered rumor to a powerful leader, it makes you ask a bigger question. Is a legacy just about looking back and remembering, or is it about actively using that name to shape the future? What does it really mean to keep a legacy alive?